Hey guys, what's up? It's Darkmick here and welcome back to another Mythic Plus guide. Today we're covering off the other side. Now, these guides, if you're not familiar with them, are fairly in-depth. I'm going to go through the MDT route with you guys for certain sections, and then I'm going to play a VOD and we're going to show what we just talked about in the MDT through on the VOD. So we're going to be going between MDT and VOD and just talking about what we do, what we pull. The idea behind these is to get new tanks moving into that plus 10 affix, to get comfortable with Prideful, to know where your Prideful spawn points are kind of supposed to be, what people expect, what group sizes and what pulls people expect out of you as the tank. And the idea is to get you comfortable enough in moving forward to that, and we're just trying to get as many people through their plus 15 achievement as we possibly can help to get their mounts. So these are longer guides, I apologize, but the Spies one got really good reception, and the main aim is aiming at people with a lot of tank anxiety and moving into that plus 10 bracket. So these guides are absolutely for you. If you have any feedback, let me know in the comments below, but otherwise let's get stuck into the other side. So opening pull in the other side, guys, you're going to have 3 Risen Cultists, 3 Bone Soldiers, and 1 Risen Warlord. Now, these two, this Bone Soldier and this Cultist, when the key starts, they're going to be at the bottom of the stairs and they're going to run up. What you're going to do is you're going to run through them, clip them, and pretty much run into this bottom pack here. Now, on a fortified setting, your group will generally commit hero to this. If the key is low enough, generally you want hero for Hakar just to get through him quickly. On a Tyrant setting, you won't hero this because you will get through it too quickly. But on a fortified, generally pretty safe to commit hero to this pull, especially in a pug environment. Now, the Risen Warlord is probably the most notable mob in this pack. It will periodically cast Undying Rage. Now, Undying Rage increases their damage done by 100% and prevents them from dying for 12 seconds, which is as long as the Undying Rage buff is up. So, if you've got a rogue, a hunter, or a druid that can soothe, you need to get this off ASAP. If you don't have that option, you just need to make sure that you are using the platform and kiting away. The Bone Soldiers in this one, they cast an ability called Bone Strike. The thing with this is it's shadow damage, but they stop to cast it. So what you can do if you are in melee range trying to establish threat, you can sink an AMS into this or anything that is a magic DR. You can sink that into it so you can build up threat. Then what you can do is start running away. Now they move, they're slowable, so you can slow them easy enough. But when they actually go to start cast Bone Strike, they actually stand still to do it. So you can stop, they go to strike, and then you can move away, and you can effectively pretty much never get hit as long as you start moving when they go to cast. The Risen Cultists are the last thing we need to talk about in here. They've got 2 casts, Dark Lotus and Scribe. Dark Lotus you can pretty much just ignore. It's like purple little lotus things that go on the floor and they explode. Just don't stand in the bad purple. The Scribe is what you do want to kick. It's shadow damage that goes out in a bolt. Just kick the Scribes when you've got spare kicks pretty much. So, pulling this all together, pew pew pew, make sure that your Risen Warlord is getting soothed, otherwise make sure you're running away. Once these are down, we are going over this way to Zul'Grub. We're not going in there, but we're going to run all the way around here, and we're going to do this next pull here. Now, I'm unsure if you can actually split this pull in half. I always pull it together. I'm not sure if you're not comfortable with that, if you can just split these Raptors. I assume you can, and this Bone Soldier, and then do these 3 here. But otherwise, it's not actually a bad pull. The biggest thing here is you've got 1 Death Speaker, 2 Raptors, 1 Cultist, and 3 Soldiers. Now, the big mob of interest is this Death Speaker one here, and the main reason behind that is this ability called Shadow Core. Shadow Core is big shadow damage, okay, and it needs to be kicked, especially on high keys like 17, 18 area. This will most likely one-shot you if you don't have some kind of magic DR rolling. So if you don't have a kick for this, AMZ, AMS, any magic DR that you've got to reduce this is going to be required if one's going through and hitting you. It will also cast around every 20 seconds. Erupting Darkness. Now this is really nutty to see. It's a giant frontal purple special beam cannon thing that's going to go off. It's really hard to see, but if you get hit by it, you get punted to Narnia. So it's really important to try and focus on where it is in the pack and not get hit by it. If you can't do that, go and stand with everyone else and pray they're not stupid and they're in a safe spot. Last thing to be aware on this one is Death's Embrace. Now this will cast this. Mages can actually spell steal this for the haste buff as well. If you don't have a mage to spell steal it, healers can actually just dispel it, so no issues there. So That's probably the biggest thing in this pack. Again, making sure that you're interrupting the Shadow Core is probably the huge one. The Raptors, lastly, to talk about as well, they've got this Decrepit Bite. It can stack. It's nature damage. You can use AMS to ignore that as well. They do have fairly low health, so they should melt and not be too much of an issue for you. So once we've cleaned up this pack, we're going to not go to a car. We're going to move down here and we're going to do this Enraged Spirit. Now you can see on the map here this Haunted Urn. If you've got a Night Fae in your group, you want to have them come over here and click this urn when Rage is about to go off. Now he'll do this Enraged Mask thing where he'll spawn a whole bunch of little masks. You can stun them to get rid of them, or you can just AoE damage them down. What you do want to do though is make sure that after the masks have gone off, the urn is a very long cast. So before Rage actually gets off, or just when the cast is coming, you want to make sure that your person is clicking the urn to interrupt Rage. Rage does a hell of a lot of damage, and being able to interrupt it with the urn is a huge win. If you don't have this option, you will have to commit, most likely on a high key, definitely on a high key, some kind of cooldown to get through that, be it AMZ, Slink, whatever DR you've got, as it does a lot of damage. You want to try and kill it before the second one goes off. Once that's dead, we're going to move down the bottom here, and we're not going to double this. We're going to pull this pack here, and it's going to give us our first Prideful to take through into these 2 Risen Warlords here. So this pack's 4 Raptors and 1 Bone Soldier. So just remember again, the Bone Soldier does the Bone Strike. You can just kite it away. It's magic damage if you're getting hit otherwise. And the Raptors will do that Decrepit Bite, which stacks, and you've got 4 Raptors in this one that'll be biting you, so just be aware of that. It's a little bit of damage. Once this is dead, we get our first 20% Prideful, and we're going into the Risen Warlords. Risen Warlords again, just remember the Undying Rage. You want it soothed. If they're big, orange and angry, you want to run away otherwise. So once they're dead, we are legging it back to Zul'Gurub, and we're going to go into that. Now I'm just going to show you this inner ring part on the VOD now. And we're going to just run over and talk over that. So if I go back to the start of my VOD, I must have been looking at something. So key starting, I'm moving down, and you can see those 2 at the bottom of the stairs that I was talking about. Sorry, I'm just going to go back real quick. So you can see when the key starts, this Bone Soldier and this Cultist at the top of the stairs come running up. You can just literally yeet through them on your mount, clip them, get these bottom ones. As soon as you pull one of these mobs at the bottom, this Warlord runs in automatically. You don't have to worry about like tagging him to engage him or anything like that. So clipping those 2, running down the bottom, and then we are going to blow hero and just nut this. Now the Warlord is the focus target that should be going down. You can do this on bolstering as well, guys. There's no issues as long as the Warlord is the focus target. Now you can see he's big, angry, and orange. Now I actually have 2 soothes options, but I think they were just too interested in doing damage to care for my life. So I am running away. It's been soothed now, so I can come back in. You can see just kicking whatever scribe cast that we can. There's the Dark Lotus, that purple one going off on the ground. You don't have to waste kicks on it, and it should die fairly easily. The Bone Soldiers, as I said, they're slowable. Once you're in getting your threat at the start, you can use AMS just to negate some of that shadow damage, and then just run out every time they go to cast that Bone Strike. So now we're mounting up, and we are going up to this next platform. This is what I was talking about. I think you can halve this, like I said, with the Bone Soldiers and the Raptors if you didn't want to do all of this. This speaker, as I said, is the main one. That's the Shadow Core target. So we want to make sure that we're interrupting that. You don't want to pull that Enraged Spirit that's coming up the stairs either. So you can see here, Shadow Core is going off. Just make sure that you have some kind of interrupt order set up for that, as it will really hurt. You can see the Bone Soldiers, like everything still hurts as well. So here comes Erupting Darkness. So see this little purple glow here? That's Erupting Darkness. It's really hard to see. So I've got my name Special Beam Cannon Fire on a weak aura, but it is really hard to see. So you can see here, it stops and it's going to cast it now. So you want to be out of this way. So you can kind of see the purple crap getting sucked into it. But yeah, it's a fair dodge. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You just have to really pay attention to not get yeeted by it. So we're a bit light on kicks here, and I'm getting a bit yeeted by the Decrepit Bite and the Bone Strike. So I've just dropped an AMZ there. Probably not the greatest idea. I really don't like committing AMZ there. Main reason is just because I like to have it on the Enraged Spirit, and if I had it on the Enraged Spirit, it actually would have been better in this one. Here comes Erupting Darkness again. You can see I ate a Shadow Core before with AMS, and it's just got insta-eaten obviously because it hits quite hard. that goes down, and then we can just move away. You can see just kiting the bone soldiers and things like that. So then we're onto this enraged spirit. So we're just making our way down there. Remember, we're not going up to Zul'Grub. You can see the urn over here in the corner here. So that's our Night Fae target. So I'm just going to speed this up and get down to the bottom. I'm just going to grab the spirit rather than waiting for him to go all the way to the bottom and then pat all the way back up. I don't know why this is a bit laggy, but it is at the moment. So you can see it's going to cast its masks first. One thing, I'm just going to pause this. One thing you don't want to do, guys, is don't be standing all over here at the urn. You want to keep this as free as possible for whoever is clicking the urn to not have enraged masks on it. You can see these, you can stun, as I said, or you can just AoE them down. But the main thing is try and keep this urn space free. As soon as this is done, I would start clicking my urn cast, because it pretty much goes into a rage cast really quickly. And you can see the urn cast is so long. There was like 4 ticks of that rage that actually got off, which is a lot of damage to have to live through. Now, if I hadn't have committed AMZ on the last platform and we got to here, I would have had AMZ to commit here, and we would have had a much easier time of living here. Now, we'd actually lose the healer here, whereas if I hadn't have had to commit AMZ, which I kind of had to do anyway because Shadow Cores, I think a couple of Shadow Cores were getting through on me, but it's still, if you can hold it, it's really nice to have on those spirits. So this next pull here is that 1 bone soldier, 4 raptors that I was talking about. So we're just going to wait for the healer to be in some kind of range, and then I'm going to pull these. Again, the decrepit bite is, you know, one of the big things that you've got just to monitor here. The soldier will do its bone spike again, which you can just run away if you need to. It might be, is it called Troll Guard? I think it's got 2 abilities. Maybe Troll Guard's the ability and Bone Spike's the thing, the shadow damage component to it. I don't know. But you can just, anyway, when it casts, you can just run away, and that's pretty much it. Now, as I said, here is our first Prideful here. So we're going to grab our Prideful. You guys know how Prideful works. So I'm just going to skip through this really quickly. Pew, 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 pew. Don't shoot people with your red lines. And then we're going to go into our 2 Risen Warlords over here. There is a mask, sorry, not a mask, an enraged spirit that pats down these stairs here as well. Don't get hit by that. And again, just watch out for the enrage on the Warlords here. So Undying Rage goes off. If the soothes aren't quick, you can get absolutely decked. You can see orange, angry, and hitting very hard. So soothes have got off 30 seconds before the next one, and we can kill them. So then we're going to kill them, and we're going to mount all up, and we're going to run all the way back to the Zul'Grub entrance. So we're going to go back to MDT here. So back to MDT, we've just killed these 2. We've ran all the way back up here, and we're going into Zul'Grub. Now, this is what this little gauntlet hallway section kind of looks like in Zul'Grub. So, Zul'Grub, what have I got to tell you in Zul'Grub? 2 most important mobs in this hallway, I feel, are the priests and the hexes. So priests will cast a heal. Okay, it's a giga heal. If you stun this, it will instantly recast it, so you need to interrupt it. The hexes will cast a hex, which is annoying. They'll cast a lightning discharge, which is annoying. It's a big lightning circle you need to get out of the way. The other annoying thing, and probably the most annoying thing, is this healing wave here. So you've got 2 mobs that have the ability to heal mobs to absolute full in here and slow your progress down quite a bit in regards to progressing through this hallway quickly. So these Devoteds, they will start off in the pulls as casting. If their cast gets off, they'll turn into like these serpent things, and when you kill the serpent things, they will leave giant pools of blood. You want to make sure the Devoted Sacrifice cast, or whatever it's called, does not get off. Now you can do that with single stuns, so asphyxiates, grips, paralysis, blinding lights, leg sweeps, rops, I don't know, anything and anything, incaps, roars, intimidating shouts, whatever you can do to stop that cast going off, make sure you do it. So they're your 2 focuses in this opening pool. Once they are dead and you get a kick on the first heal of the priest, I would be dragging the hexer in. Again, your main 2 things here are making sure that you interrupt the heals on these mobs. Once one of these mobs is down and you've got a kick on the heal, so a heal is not going to come up again, start bringing this forward into the next pack. This next pack is going to have a priest, so heal is the main thing again, and then these Death Walkers. Now these Death Walkers have Blade Storms, and they leave this Gushing Wound debuff on you, and the debuff is actually fairly nasty, so watch your stacks there. Make sure your group is moving out for the Blade Storms. You can stun the Blade Storms on Necrotic Week. You'd probably want to let that Blade Storm go off so you can run away and reset stacks, so just think about that. Otherwise, you can just stun it so people don't have to worry about it. Once the priest is dead in this pack, so you're not chaining this into anything, you're going to go and do this 4-pack here. Now this is 1 Hexa and 3 Devoured. Now the Devoured are all going to be casting their Serpent thing, and you don't want to let that go off. So you can mass grip them off their cast, Ring a Piece, Leg Sweep, Gouge, Kidney, Blind, Single Grip, Cap Totem. Again, you can see where I'm going with this. Just make sure the cast doesn't get through, then nut the Hexa. Once you get a kick on the Hexa's heal, you can, if you have kick coverage and if you're comfortable, pull this pack up the top back to this urn. So we've got a second Night Fae urn in here, and you want to pull this pack back to here, line of sight around this. You'll need a grip on the priest because it'll stop to cast like back here. Grip on the priest, urn, and blow it up. However, you need to make sure that you get the healing wave and you get the heal on the priest. In the VOD I'm about to show you, we miss one. Goes back to full health, and I don't know, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds of your key is just wasted in that format. So I'm going to talk you through this hallway. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to cover a car before I go to that. I'm going to cover a car. Don't get too ahead of yourself, bro. So we're procking our second Prideful here, okay? 40% Prideful when these die. So that way we can get Prideful and go straight into car. Now, biggest thing on Hakar is the blood barrier, okay? So the blood barrier is this massive shadow damage eruption, and it hits all enemies and allies. So the little adds that Hakar spawns, it hits those as well. Whatever damage it does to those adds, if they're up, and you, forms the blood barrier. So if you've got any way to reduce that magic damage, you will reduce the blood barrier that you end up having to chunk through. So things like darkness, AMZ, and everyone standing in it, using personal DRs can make your blood barrier life much easier and much easier to progress through this boss quickly. Killing the adds is also pretty important to reduce that blood barrier as well, rather than just leaving them up and ignoring them. Secondly, as the tank, you need to make sure that you're aware of Piercing Barb. Piercing Barb is like his Tank Buster style mechanic. It's actually a double hit. The first hit is physical damage. The second hit is shadow damage, or magic damage, I should just call it. But it's shadow damage. So you need to be aware you're copying a double hit of that as well. So make sure you've got some form of active mitigation rolling for it, or runic power pool to at least death strike out of that, as it does hit quite hard. So now we can go to the VOD and we're going to play through that. So we've ran up to the Zul'Gurub area here. So I'm running in. So first pull is going to be the priest and the 2 devoted. So you can see the 2 devoted. Once we engage them, they're going to start casting. So you can see devoted sacrifices going off. Again, single grips, single stuns, whatever you can do to make sure that devoted cast doesn't get off, and then just drop them ASAP. Heal's gone out from the priest, and now we're going to grab this padding Hexa in. It's worth noting with the Hexa, guys, you cannot grip the Hexa off casts and things like that. Should have mentioned as well, as you can see it right here on the screen, 20% health, priests actually run away. So if you're somebody that is camping a heal on the priest, just be aware of that, as they'll run away when they hit 20%. Now I'm just waiting, here's the lightning discharge, big blue circle to run out of. We're just waiting for the heal on this Hexa. When the heal on the Hexa goes off, we'll drag it up into the next pack with the priest and the double Deathwalker. Now, the double Deathwalkers are the Blade Storm and Gushing Wound dot levers. So around 4 to 5 stacks is a pretty good time to start sort of running away. You need to make sure that you have a kick on the priest's heal though. As I said, the smite, it doesn't do a hell of a lot of damage. If people get hit by the Blade Storm, it's like KR, you know, when people used to get hit by the Blade Storm in the mini boss gauntlet, they'll die. And I think it happened to Toe there. So you just need to make sure that you're watching that. Make sure that you've always got somebody lined up for a kick on the heal. You can stun the Blade Storms, as I said, or you can just move off. Heals get cast pretty regularly on the priest as well. So just be aware of that, and you can see it's now fleeing. So, pretty straightforward through there, not too bad. Now I'm going to skip up because we're just killing this last Deathwalker and running away from Shiteful. We're still running away from Shiteful. All right, so now we're moving back up to the... Nope, we're still dealing with Shiteful. All right. So now this next pull, 1 Hexa, 3 devoted. So this is what I was talking about with mass gripping to yourself, leg sweeps, cap totems, whatever you can. You just want to make sure that these casts do not go off, and you actually want to have everybody smashing the Devoteds here as well. Don't be focusing the Hexa. Now, actually, idea why I was on the Hexa for a little bit there. Bad idea. You can Typhoon them away as we've done there, and then you can use things like Asphyxiate, Single Grips, whatever you've got. Just make sure it doesn't get off. So once that is dead, you then have the decision to make. Now, the safe choice here, guys, is to just kill the Hexa by itself and then go and pull the other pack back. We get this healing wave, and then we grab this top pack. Now, I'm going to grab the top pack, and then I'm going to run in line of sight. Now, the priest is going to need a grip eventually, but we're going to line of sight it around this corner. If you've got that lightning disruption, you just need to get out. We're going to line of sight it, and then we're going to click the urn. Now, the urn goes off here, no problems. However, we're going to finish up that Hexa, but we've now got 2 kicks to monitor. So realistically, we shouldn't be kicking anything except for the heal. There is this lightning discharge, there is the smite, there is also the Hex. The problem is we're down to 2 kicks now, and I know one of these heals goes through. Actually, it might be, yeah, so right there, Tez and I just wasted both our kicks on the Hex, which was stupid. This Hexa is now going to cast a healing wave. No kicks available and full health. So it would have been fine doing that pull. You just need coordination in regards to who's getting what and who is holding a kick, making sure that they've got it. Because basically we waste a good 30 seconds in this key now in getting this down. Now, once this dies, I'm just going to fast forward to the end of it. We will spawn our 40% Prideful. So we're going to do our 40% Prideful again. You guys know how Prideful works. Pew, 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 red lines. Don't shoot each other. Stay spread out. Don't move if you've got it, whatever your group's going. And then we're going to move into Hakar. Now, we've got Prideful on Hakar, and we've got Heroism up again from the first pull, or Bloodlust. So I would be using it on Hakar. It's just a nice boss to get through cleanly. So again, as I mentioned, Blood Barrier is the big thing, and this Piercing Barb, which is his double hit. So you can see it coming out now. So hits me for around 50% of my health. Ads coming out now. You can slow the ads, you can stun them, you can grip them. Just make sure you are killing the ads is generally the play. Blood Barrier going down here for the first Blood Barrier that's going to come out. Sorry, AMZ going down for the first Blood Barrier. So if you've got all your ads dead and then you have your group stack inside AMZ and use a DR, you will get a really small Blood Barrier that you have to eat through, which will save you a whole bunch of time. Piercing Barb coming out again here. So first hit physical, second hit magic damage. Make sure that you're not tanking a car in any blood puddles. Assist with the ads, sort of wherever you can if anyone's having trouble with them in regards to stuns and things like that, but do try and kill them. Second Blood Barrier comes out here. That was a fairly chunky Blood Barrier. I think all the ads were pretty healthy there as well. And I don't know what we had for DR. This was kind of just a pickup group with some mates. So we'd never ran keys together. There wasn't a lot of communication on this, but if you can communicate your DR around that Blood Barrier, you can have a really quick Hakar time, like kind of, like sub-minute kill sort of thing. So that's that section done. Now we're going to head off to Mechagon, guys. So I'm going to go back to MDT here. So we're coming out here all the way back down, and we're going to Mechagon. Did I say Mechagon? Don't know. We're going to Mechagon though. Now, when you come in here, you have a couple of choices, all right? So what I have been doing lately is pulling the Defunct Drill, the Fruff, that's what I'm calling it, and the Headless Client. I've actually been pulling these 3 and dropping a D&D in this corner, because by the time they make it out of your slow, they've actually exploded. If you're not comfortable with pulling that much, you can run around the outside here so you don't aggro this Defunct Drill. The Wolf, the Fruff will come out. You can grab that and the Drill if you want to do 2. Otherwise, run here, do the Drill single, then do these 2, drop a D&D or something in the corner to aggro these because they blow up, and just bring these 2 back into this room, kill those 2, and then do this 3. Whatever I'm showing you on here, if you're not comfortable with pull size, you can always shrink it down. The Drill will do a Haywire, so you just want to drag it back to this corner, so when Haywire goes off, your group can line of sight around it. It's magic damage. You can sit out there with like cloaks on or AMS, whatever magic DR you've got. It feels weird that it's nature damage, but it is. The Fruff will do this Woof, which puts a sonic barky boom thing around you. You just want to move out of that. It will stun you. It can go on the tank as well. You can use AMS to immune it, or you can use Icebound Fortitude if you want to commit that to avoid getting stunned. The headless client here will do this spinning up thing. It spins around in a circle, damage actually punts it away, and it'll do a discharge, which you just want to interrupt when you can. So pool size here, do whatever floats your boat, but generally what I've been doing is at least these two, sometimes these three, and throw on something in the corner to just explode them quick. Then I go and do these three headless clients here. So again, same stuff with the spin up and the discharge. Then this bit here now, to save a bit of time here, dependent on your kick situation, if you're loaded up on range, pulling 3 lubricators is not advised with lots of range kicks, unless you've got big damage and you can kill them in like a solar beam and a stun. Otherwise, I'd run around here, I'd get the drill. The drill, we're moving to this spot here, so we've got this little corridor for line of sight, but I would grab one lubricator. I would get a range to grab one of the lubricators to fight with this defunct drill, and then I would do a double lubricator pull after that one. So completely up to you, but that's my advice to you on this one. Otherwise, you can do the defunct drill by itself, you can do one lubricator, and then you can do 2. The lubricators, they'll cast this lubricate ability, which actually gives you a 20% hit reduction on it. So that is really annoying and slows you down. And then it's got this self-cleaning cycle that you need to kick as well, which restores 10% of its HP every second for 6 seconds. So you need to make sure that you're getting both of these kicks down, which is why I was saying if you're range heavy, pulling 3 at once isn't often the best play. If you've got an engineer in your group, they can come and they can click this button here and it'll stop the slimes going across the conveyor belt and you can just run right across. Then we get to these oils here. They cast this essential oil. You just want to kick whatever you can here. They do a bit of damage, and this is going to be our 60% prideful here, which we are then going to run across and take into the mana storms. Now, the mana storms, guys, there probably seems like there is a fair bit going on here. For the most part, you just want to keep the bosses in the middle. It's probably the simplest thing I can explain this to you. You want to keep them in the middle. Your group is going to assist, or you can assist in soaking beams that come out if you need to. However, as the tank, generally your DPS are going to be getting them. Your DPS will get these little red arrows on their head, and they're going to line up on one on each side of the boss. And the reason that is going to be is it's going to be so you fight Millhouse first, and it's going to be Maleficent's Echo Finger Laser Extreme that is going to be those 2 little red arrows on your DPS's heads. They're going to line them up on each side of Millhouse, and when he goes to cast Diabolical Doom, this zap is going to make like a Z through those points, and it's going to pass through him, hence the 2 red arrows on each side, and it is going to stun him. As the tank, make sure you're either at max melee range or you just take a little step back as that line is shooting through to make sure that you avoid getting stunned. You don't actually want to bust Millhouse down to 10% either. They actually die at 10% each. And if you kill Millhouse in the first phase on the open with Burst and Prideful, you'll actually bug it out, and when she does her aerial rocket chicken barrage, you will have no stun that Millhouse provides when he's not in the fight to actually stop that. So you just need to make sure that you don't blow him down to 10%. You can get him down to like 14-15% area, no worries, but just chill. So when you are fighting Millhouse, as I said, Maleficent will be doing this Echo Finger Extreme. It's the 2 red things. Just keep the boss in the middle, help soak laser beams. Your DPS will go each side with the things. Step out so you just don't get stunned, or don't be standing on top of the boss when it goes through, and that's pretty much it. When you are fighting Maleficent, Millhouse will be off casting Shadow Furies. Big purple circle around your DPS. They're going to line it up over Maleficent, and it's going to stun her. As the tank, just make sure you position yourself so you're not in that purple circle, so you're not getting stunned with her as well. The main point of the stun is generally to interrupt the aerial rocket chicken barrage as well, which generally comes towards the later sections of the fight. As the tank, you do have to put up with this tank debuff though, this tank basher buzzsaw, and it hurts. You can't kite away from it or anything like that. You just have to stand there and like basically bite the pillow, and it does hurt. It really does hurt. So there's a sequence, you get like 8 stacks of that, I think, or something like that as it's going through. And yeah, it hurts. So that's pretty much it, guys. There's going to be bombs going out. You can help your group get them, but generally your DPS is getting them. I have seen as well, where are the bombs? These experimental squirrel bombs. I have seen groups taking it over to the wall and taking the boss at the wall and then clicking the bombs as they come out. So you can elect to do that, but otherwise just keep them in the middle is probably the easiest advice I can give you. So, done a lot of talking there. Let's go to Mechagon and let's see it. So we're racing over to Mechagon here. I'm coming in. So here's this drill over here on the left. Okay, so I'm going to run around this corner. I haven't aggroed it yet. When I get to here, I'm waiting for Woof Woof to come out. I'm grabbing the client, I'm grabbing Woof Woof, and I'm grabbing the drill. And I am coming back to this little corner here. Here's Haywire going off. So we're going to line of sight around the corner from Haywire there. And as soon as Haywire's done, I'm going to move back out. Now, this is a pretty dicey pull. Now, you can see I've got the Foof on me there, the Sonic Bark, and I committed Icebound Fortitude so I didn't get stunned. So just going back there so I can show you. So you can see here, I've got this big blue circle around me. This is that Sonic Bark. I've used Icebound. I still get punted back, but it means that I don't get stunned, which is obviously when you've got 3 mobs hitting you, the way that you want to go, because you can't dodge, parry, or not die when you're stunned. So Haywire going off again here, just moving back around the corner, just watching out on Foof. He does that metallic jaws, it's a bit of damage. As soon as you get though one of these mobs down, not one of them, as soon as you get the drill down mainly, or Foof, this pull becomes substantially easier. So again, just watching out on the drill here. I probably have this drill out just a little too far at the moment. Like, you can still line of sight, but it means everyone has to get into that corner. So just watch your positioning on that one. Drill is about to die though, so Drill's dead, and now we're just finishing up Foof. So I'm going to move up to this corner now, and I didn't grab these little memories up here, so I'm just going to throw a D&D on them. Actually, I didn't even throw a D&D on them. I just clipped them, and they're running back, and you can see they just blow up. So you don't need to touch them at all. They just blow up by themselves. Now we're moving around the corner here, and we're going to get these 3 clients. So the clients, remember, they do the spinny and they do the discharge. Just interrupt whatever you can on these. You shouldn't have too many issues. I'm just going to skip through them. So you can see there, pew, 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 pew. They die fairly quickly. As I said, when they're spinning and you do damage to them, they get knocked away as well. Yeah. You won't have too many issues. The discharge does hurt though. You can see discharge does like 30% damage. So do interrupt them, you know, especially on the higher keys and things like that. Especially when you've got interrupt sitting there, there's absolutely no reason to not interrupt things. So we're just killing this last Spiteful, and then we're going to go through. Now we're going to get a drill here, and we're going to get 1 lubricator from memory. So it's a bit uffish as the tank to run up, get one of those lubricators, and then get a line of sight off. So what we do is we line of sight this first Haywire here, and then one of the ranged runs off and gets one of the lubricators. You could have done it straight off the bat as well, but we were kind of talking about it as we were doing this. So you can see here, there's those little memory things that blow up as well. Just, you know, don't be in the doorway. Not that you ever would be anyway. Here comes the lubricator here. I stood in a volcano, outstanding play. I'm just going to grip that lubricator in. So remember, the lubricator's got 2 kicks that we need to get. We need to get the lubricate because it's the 20% hit reduction debuff. We need to get the self-cleansing because that's the heal that goes off from it, that heals it up substantially and wastes a lot of our time. So just make sure that you've got your kicks monitored. With your drill, just make sure that you're getting around the corner for the Haywire. You shouldn't have too many hassles, but this is a far safer way than trying to triple pull the lubricators in the next sort of section, especially if you're on heavy range interrupts and things like that, or you don't think you can kill it in a beam or a leg sweep, or, you know, whatever you're kind of planning around. So getting both of these down, we have clicked the conveyor belt as well, or I'm about to go click it, sorry. So I'm clicking the conveyor belt here as the engineer. Slimes are all stopping, and now we're going to pull 1 lubricator. I think we were talking about, do we pull 2 or do we pull 1? And we elected to kind of pull 1, and then I think someone questioned, I may have questioned my manhood, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker, which is fine. The biggest thing, guys, is, you know, lubricate does damage, and you are losing hit chance with it as well. But the big one is to make sure that you are interrupting the self-cleansing. Self-cleansing can't go off. Ideally, nothing can go off, but just really monitor it. So we get this last lubricator down, and then we're moving around the corner. As soon as we move around the corner, these oils spawn. Again, just interrupting whatever you can around these essential oils. You know, you can drop an AMZ, you can drop a Hubba Bubba shell for people to go and stand in, just to reduce some of the damage coming out of this, because there is a bit of damage. And when you kill the final third one, you will proc your 60% prideful here. So here is 60% prideful. You got enough space, just make sure you spaced out, not shooting anyone, killing these, and then we are running across. Now, oil shoots out across here. If you're a Venthyr, you can come down onto this little ridge, and then you can just Door of Shadows across. If you're wondering why Door of Shadows never works, if you actually get on the little ledge that you've got to run across, you can then Door of Shadows straight across. And then we're on the Mana Storms here, so just waiting for my group to catch up. This is a common problem as a DK, being one of the most mobile and fastest classes in the game. So we're going to start off fighting Millhouse. As I said, do not get him down to 10%, all right? Like your 15 to 12% area is fine. Here comes those crystals I was talking about soaking. So you can assist in soaking them as a tank. You do get a buff when you're doing it, but ideally your DPS want to be getting that. Here is the red arrows above your DPS. Okay, so you can... okay, this is really bad. Hold on, wait. Oh my god. Where are the red arrows, man? Hold on, here they are here. See these? They get arrows at the first, but this Tez here and Kara here have these red things. It's going to shoot a line through the boss. So if I get this wrong, I'm gonna look like an idiot. Am I gonna look like an idiot? All right, here it is here. Okay, it was Kara and Toes, sorry. So they're going to get this line that's going to come shooting through the boss. See that Z? And there's the stun. Now, if you are standing on top of the boss, that will stun you. So just make sure you're max melee range like I am right now. The laser's going to come through and it's going to stun him and it's not going to stun you. So just be aware of that. Continue to soak the crystals. If a beam's going through to the boss, it buffs the boss. Here's Diabolical Doom. So again, just making sure we're using the little the laser finger thingy to get the stun off there, and no worries, your group has to be executing that, but as the tank, you're just standing in the middle. Here's the Buzzsaw debuff I was talking about as the tank, and you can get quite a few stacks of that bleed on you. I think I said 8. I think it may be 5 is like the max. But, you know, oh, no, there's 8. I'm right. So again, you know, just be careful with that. Here's the purple circle. I went to chase this bomb, which was dumb because just let the DPS get the bomb generally. Here is the Shadow Fury. So I'm going to pause it. Here's the Shadow Fury here, right? This big purple circle. What you want to do is you want to have the boss positioned in the circle and you want to be out of the circle. I was chasing this bomb over here because I didn't think anyone was going to get it. Which was dumb. We still got the stun on it, but it just made life difficult. So just be sure that you are, you know, you're not in that stun, but you know, the person that's got that Shadow Fury on them can make sure that they get it. So here it is here. I'm just standing out of that Shadow Fury. Shadow Fury goes on. Not an issue as well. The bombs that are going out, this is what I was talking about in regards to you can tank her up against a corner or a wall, sorry, and the bombs only have the choice to spawn outwards. And you can actually just spam click on them. You do need to make sure that you get to the location when Robot Chickens is going off with the Shadow Fury to be able to stun her though. Otherwise, it's a lot of damage that goes out and it can potentially wipe you. But that is it. That is it. Mana Storms are down, and then we're off to the last area in this key, which is Ardenweald. So back to MDT, guys. So we're going back out here. We've just come out of Mechagon. We're running now. We've got to do 1 Enraged Spirit here by itself. No urn for this one. So AMZ, Slinks, whatever cooldowns you've got, barriers. You're probably going to need to sink them into the Rage, but dependent on key level. And then we're going up the top here to this last pull here. Now, we have the 3rd Night Fae urn here as well. You can run up here onto the platform, run all the way over here, and then you can pretty much just cut through the middle, grab this Bone Soldier and Raptor, and then grab this pack, and they'll just slowly move over to you. The Death Speaker, obviously the main one again with Shadow Core. Watch the Erupting Darkness. You can't grip that or anything like that, but just try and get these over to this corner ASAP and blow the urn. Main things, as always, with the Shadow Core kicks, again, we've covered all these mobs. So you're going to have 3 cultists with the Shadow Core, and then you're going to have a Raptor and a Bone Soldier. So you're going to clean those up, and then you're going to move into the Ardenweald area. So I think I'll just cover all that off when we go into the Ardenweald area. Now, the Ardenweald area, okay, you can do this, you know, many different ways. The main thing that you want to do is when you are going down this hill, after you finish like to this area to go down to this boss, you need to have 91% from this point, okay? You have to have 9, it might even be 91.2, but you got to have like that. If you are under 91%, you are going to be short and you're going to have to pull something else down here. In this area, you want to always avoid pulling matriarchs if you can, as they enrage everything else around them, and they hurt, and they have a lot of health for not a lot of count. You also want to avoid pulling these hatchlings. These hatchlings will spam frightening cries. If it gets off, it summons every bird in Narnia that flocks to your location, so avoid pulling those. When you come into here, you have a choice. You can pull like 1, 2, 3, or you can pull 4 packs, or you can pull 2, and you can pull 2. Again, you do whatever you're comfortable with. What we generally do is pull these 4 packs here. So in these packs here, you're going to have, 4 Spriggans. Hold on, I made some notes here. You're gonna have 4 Shimmer Moths, 3 Rune Stags, and 3 Spriggans. And honestly, there's nothing special to talk about with any of them. Just murder them and don't stand in the bad stuff. Then you're gonna double pull this middle section, and that's gonna give us our 80% prideful here, okay? Again, there's 4 of these little Spriggans. Again, they don't do anything. You can kick bark armor if you like. And then there's the 3, 1 Elderhorn and the 2 juvenile Rune Stags. And again, they don't do anything. They just rain shit from the sky that you don't want to stand in. So double pull these after this is cleaned up, and then you're going to proc your 80% prideful. With your 80% prideful, you are going to move to this 4th urn if you have a Night Fae. Now, if you have a Night Fae, you're going to do a fairly decent sized pull here to your urn, and then you are just going to blow it up, okay? You're not committing lust or anything like that, but you've got prideful. You're going to try and make the most of it. There's these padding 3 blade beaks that go all around this area. You want to try and grab these, this pack off to the side, this little Spriggan pack here, and then 4 of these blade beaks here if you can, which you can literally just run through and grab them. They don't chain to the rest of this stuff. The problem with the blade beaks though is they do leave a debuff on you, this beak slice, okay? Which increases the damage by beak slice from the other ones by 10%. So you can have like, I think I had 27 stacks on me in one of these runs. It hurts, and you do need to kite. The good thing is when you bring it all back to the urn and you blow it up, you can just simply kite all the way back up the way you came, and then you can come all the way back down if you need to. Just avoid the dragon and any of these packs around the corners here and things like that. Again, there's nothing really special to talk about here. When you've got your 91%, you can come over to this side, just walk around the side of the dragon. You're going to get this Spriggan, Barkbender, this Shimmer Moth here. Here is 1 hatchling. You're going to pull this 1 hatchling, and you need to get a asphyxiate, a leg sweep, a paralysis, a kidney, whatever you can on this frightening cries. The frightening cries cannot get off, guys. It's the only hatchling you kill. Lock it down, kill it ASAP. We're going to grab these 2 blade beaks that are under the waterfall. They are not linked to the matriarch. However, this mofo here, this guy here, he will pat, okay? He walks. Okay, hold on. I got a bit carried away. He walks, okay, from like here to here. If you taunt him here when he is near the matriarch, you will pull the matriarch. Even though they're not chained, you will pull it. If he is walking over here and you taunt him, you will get him on his own. That's what I wanted to do in the VOD I'm going to show you. I muck it up because I get a little bit impatient, but just wait for him to walk and then grab him. Come in and grab these 2, grab the hatchling and like this blade beak and this moth, and then wait for him to walk over and then grab him, and then you can just grab this second one whenever as well. Then we're going to move down, grab these 2 Shimmer Moths, this little stag pack. It's going to proc our last prideful, our 100% prideful. We're going to take it into Defiler. Now Defiler is, you can commit hero on this with prideful. This boss is actually the spiciest boss in here. It has the ability to just kill your group, and it's mainly because you can't really have much of an effect in here. This is all about your group managing the debuff, okay? So every 9 seconds during this fight on Defiler, somebody's going to have to pass the arcane lightning debuff to a new target. So it stacks on them, and then they need to pass it off. The debuff pulses on the target every 3 seconds. It does damage, and it also gives them stacks of arcane vulnerability, which causes them to take more damage by whatever they're hit by, and even that dot. So yeah, you really need to be good at managing and passing around the arcane lightning debuff in this. people will pass it to you as the tank because you're a much safer target to give the debuff to, obviously, and you'll want to pass it to somebody else when their debuff expires or when they don't have stacks. It jumps to the nearest target, so you do need to be careful, especially if you're playing with melee. Otherwise, you can just hand it off to the melee or it can bounce between you. But yeah, it's the spiciest boss in here. If you get a bomb, there's these little localized explosive traps around. You can move into them and get punted up into the air. You just need to make sure you do that before the bomb goes off. The explosive traps as well, your whole group will need to go into them. So the first one is a bomb, which can go, I don't know if it can actually go on the tank, but it goes on your party. They'll be moving in and going up into the air. The second one, your whole group needs to move into those splicer traps before the cast goes off, to make sure that you don't die. And I think the cast is called explosive contrivance. There it is there. So when that's going, you all need to move into one of the little orbs and get punted into the air. If someone takes it, or you're not going to make one, you can use AMS and stay down there and avoid dying. The boss will also shoot out beams called displacer blast waves. You just need to dodge them. Once that's done, you click this little green dot here and you go all the way back to the middle of the platform to fight the last boss. Now, let's go have a look at this on the VOD, because I just talked a lot at you then. So we're moving out of Mechagon and we're coming back. Here is this last enraged spirit here. So I've just pulled it up the top rather than waiting for it to walk. We are going to bring it down. Here come the enraged masks, and it gets overlapped straight up with a rage as well. So barrier's gone down, so we're just going to stand in the barrier. You will need something to survive this. You can see it absolutely chunks. And then we just want to kill this as quick as we possibly can before we get another rage cast. Now, I don't have AMZ again because I don't know where I used it. I ended up putting it down, I think, for robot chickens on the mana storms, which was really dumb. So we get another rage here and we don't actually have a cooldown for it, but we survive. Priest dropped like 4% then, so insanely low. And it's a 15 as well. So you can imagine this on like a 17, 18 area. You're definitely going to need something to survive those rage, or your DK is going to have to be good enough to remember to hold on to their AMZ as well to help out and not be, stupid. So once that's done, we're going to run up to this top platform. We're going to do this last pull that I was talking about. Here's our urn over in the corner. Shadow Core on the death speaker again is the big priority. So just moving through the middle here, I'm going to grab these, group one of these cultists over, and the rest are going to run in. You need an interrupt on the death speaker fairly quickly because it will just stop, prop, and do Shadow Core straight away. We're clicking our urn here, and then we're just going to deck the death speaker as quick as we can whilst nuking everything else down. So you guys have seen how all these mobs work, so there's not anything interesting and new there. Watching out for the erupting darkness moving out of the lotus, and once they're dead, we are moving up the stairs, and we are moving through this little gauntlet phase here. And we're just going to speed up and get to the other side out here. See what I did there? Nice pun. So we're out the front here, and this is that 4 pull that I was talking about. So I'm grabbing the 4 packs here. Again, you don't have to do 4 packs if you don't want to. Yeah, you can do 2 and 2. You can do 3 and 1. You can do 1 and 3. You can do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. So we're just going to kill these, making sure that we're not standing in anything bad on the floor. Biggest issue here is Spiteful, to be honest. The mobs, they don't really do anything too bad. You need to make sure that you jump to avoid getting silenced with that debuff on you from the moths. But that's really about it. And yeah, so they're going to die. We're just watching out for the Spiteful. So then we're going to do this double pull in the middle that I was talking about, and that is going to give us our 80% Prideful. Now you can see Tez has just gone down here, so we're just going to get through this, and then we're going to get a res off before we go and do the double pull. Just saving our bearers, even though we've got 3. So now we're going into this double pull down here. So you can see here the Spriggans, the 4 Spriggans and the 3 deery things, stags. So killing these again. These mobs in here are really underwhelming. There's a fair bit of there's a bit of damage that goes off and things like that, but they don't really do anything else. Your group's just got open season to absolutely murder them. Try and kill them, all around a similar time. But again, that doesn't really matter because when you finish off the last one, you're going to proc your Prideful anyway. So you can see last one's about to die here, and we've got Prideful, so 80% Prideful. We're just going to kill that Prideful, and then we're going to move into our big urn pack now. Here is what I was talking about. So here's the blade bit. Here's the 3 that pat all around this area. It's actually 4. No, that one's standing there. There's the 3 there. So you want to grab like, you know, a couple of these. You can grab like 1, 2, 3, 4. You could grab 1, 2, 3, 4, this 3, and then this pack over here. And then there's a little stealth Spriggan pack around here that you'll get when you go to the urn. So that's what I should be aiming for. How did I do? There's the 3. Got that one. Yeah, I did pretty well. Now, a lot of damage going out here. Here's that stealth Spriggan pack that I was talking about. Barrier goes down. I do not have the pack that is behind us though, which is fine because, you know, target cap's a thing for some classes, not so much of an issue, you know, for some classes, but you know, there's no point pulling a whole bunch of shit if you've got a bunch of target capped classes in your group. So don't feel like you just have to pull, you know, Giga Majigga Ooga Booga because, you know, for the sake of it. So I grabbed this blade beak here. I don't think I actually meant to do that. And then we grab this rune stag pack over here just to finish up. Now you've got loads of room to kite. Just make sure that you don't go into that dragon, okay? The dragon behind you is absolute white material. It can fear you. It has a load of HP. It is just not worth pulling. You got loads of room to kite. You can go all the way back up to the area that you came from. But again, remember the main thing is that you want to be around that 91% area before moving through here. So I'm just going to fast forward through here because it's literally just doing damage and kiting away. They don't do anything. Stepped in a volcano. Nice one. So I got 17 stacks of that beak slice as well. So again, you know, you pull a lot of blade beaks, you're going to have to put up with that. So that's a lot of damage. It's 170% extra damage from their beak slice. Just be aware of that incoming damage. And now we're going down into here. Now, all right, you see, here is this blade beak here, and here's this matriarch that are not linked. I don't know if I pull him here. If I pull him here, he actually pats out to like here. This is where you want to wait for him to get out. I wonder if he walks in and I pull him, but he's not chained, but you need to wait for him to be from the furthest point when you pull him to get him over here. And I just pull him with a taunt. I wouldn't throw anything over there. Okay, so he kind of was, and then I screw this. Okay, so he's gone all the way back in now. So that's why I end up getting the matriarch, which is not what you want. So he's gone. Yeah, I should have waited. Yeah, okay, so what I actually did there, now I know what happened. I cucked myself. So the way Super Strain works, guys, if you don't know, is it applies Virulent Plague via Outbreak, which sprays everything. So if I had have taunted that blade beak, then I actually wouldn't have got the matriarch. Because I used Death's Caress, which I shouldn't do anyway, I end up pulling the matriarch. You can watch this. Watch the plague go on it. There it is. So not what I wanted to do. Should have taunted it. Now that we pull the matriarch in, though, the matriarch has to be the focus because it's got a dick ton of health. It enrages the other birds around it. This is not ideal. Okay, it doesn't wreck the run or anything like that. It doesn't screw up Prideful because we'll still get it down the bottom. It's just not what you want. Pulling the hatchling in here, so you can see the hatchling does the frightening cries, making sure that you asphyxiate the frightening cries. You cannot grip it off. Asphyxiate, hard CC, just make sure you do that. We're just grabbing the rest of the ones down here, but that frightened hatchling has to die ASAP. And then just make sure the matriarch dies. So you don't want to pull the matriarch, but if you do, hard target focus it, make sure you get the hatchling down. And then we're just going to cart these down into the 2 shimmer moths and the other blade beak. And then there's this other little staghorn pack. Now, once they're dead, we're going to grab our last prideful here, killing our last prideful. So we're at 100% prideful now because you don't need hero or prideful going into the last boss. So we've got hero up, we've got prideful. We're going to run down and deck dealer here. Now, remember, as I said, everything comes down to the management of this arcane lightning debuff. You as the tank, you know, you don't really do much. You just wait until you get the debuff from someone, and then when someone's got no stacks, you pass it back to them. Here are those little traps that I was talking about. If you get a bomb, you go into, otherwise on the explosion that you all go up into. Or you can use AMS if you have to stand down. So you can see someone going up with the bomb there. It explodes in the sky. No one dies. Moving out of these little swirls where the stasis traps are going. Moving out of these beams, these displacer beams. So you can see I've got the debuff now, the arcane lightning. You can see I'm getting the stacks of the vulnerability. Explosive goes up. We all get in portals and go up into the air. No worries. It dies pretty quick. So yeah, If you've got big pumper DPS that know how to manage the debuff, you'll be fine. If you're in here with people running around like headless chickens with the debuff, it's a lot of damage for a healer to try and manage, and generally it can lead to wipes. So we're going to click on the green little portal and we're going to go all the way up to the last boss. So I don't actually think there's any point in going back to MDT to talk about the last boss. I may as well just stay on the VOD and talk about the last boss. The last boss is really interesting. If you're a Brewmaster, I feel really sorry for you on this last boss, because the tank buster ability Soul Crush doesn't actually function with stagger, and you're absolutely getting cucked by it at the moment. When the boss reaches full energy, he does this ability called Soul Crusher, which is the tank buster. It deals a massive physical damage upfront hit. It then puts a 9-second dot on you that is magic damage, or it's shadow damage. So you want to mitigate as much of the upfront damage on the first hit as you can to make the dot smaller, if that makes sense. Now, going into here, there's portals that you need to take, okay? Generally, the healer and the tank will take the front left here. Melee DPS will take front right. And then you'll have one at the stairs here and one at the back right stairs. So the other two DPS are going to these ones here. Healer and tank generally always going through front left. Tip on a blood DK, do not use Dancing Rune Weapon on the opener of your pull here, because before Dancing Rune Weapon comes back up, you'll get taken over into your portal where you've got to kill your ad. You want to one phase this. It's extremely important on high keys and that not to have rinse repeat phases, as it's going to add like 2 minutes onto your key. You need Dancing Rune Weapon to be able to blow through your ad. So that's pretty much the biggest things on this fight to be aware of. So moving in, do not use Dancing Rune Weapon on the pull or any of your big long CDs. You can see Soul Crush is about to come out here, and it's that big dot. So whatever you can do to mitigate that dot is important. Master of Death is a 3 combo ability. He will raise his hand, whichever hand it is. So over here you can see red, this right hand's gone back up. So the left side is bad and the right side is safe. He'll do another one where he'll either raise this hand and this side will be safe, or he'll put both hands up in the air and this front section will be bad and you'll have to move out. It's a 3 combo ability. It's random which way it goes each time, but it's always those 3 abilities. So we're moving off to the right side of the platform to be safe here. This is the Hulk hand, so moving out of that front area, slash goes down, and then the next one is the right side's bad, left side safe, so we're standing over here. He's at 100% energy, so a Soul Crush is going to come out, so I used AMS to avoid that one altogether. So I still take the physical hit, but I immune the dot from it, so it makes it a lot easier on the healing. There'll be these little purple patches that will go out on the ground too. You can see one down here. These explode. If they're ever in melee, just don't run through them when they're exploding, basically. Master of Death again, so just dodging the safe area there. Hulk hands coming out here, moving out of the front, and then left side's going to be safe on the next one, so I'm just making sure we're out of the way of that. Shattered Reality is your portal, so I'm going to cop one more debuff here, so big dot, and Shattered Reality is going to come out. The portal's going to be about here. Healer and tank going through front left. Everyone's got their portal assignments. Moving over to the side here with the ads. So the Visage here, or the Visage, we're just going to absolutely melt these. This is where you wanted your Dancing Rune Weapon for. Believe me, I've been caught out without it before, and it just doesn't help kill this ad quick, especially if your healer's DPS is weak or something like that. You really need to pump in, and you really need to make sure that you kill your ad before this coalescing timer finishes over here. So we're going to have no problems whatsoever on this one. These purple circles that are exploding don't do much damage to you as the tank at all. Your healer needs to watch out. Kill that, click your totem. Once everyone's killed their ad and clicked their totem, you will get sucked back to the main platform. He'll take a whole bunch of damage. He'll go down to like 15% area. Make sure you're in your tank spec so you can get disappointed when your blood spattered scale doesn't drop. And then you just want to continue to absolutely melt him. So he's going to come out at like 12.5%. So there's still like a good, I don't know, like 40 seconds left of this fight or something like that. 100% energy, so a Soul Crush is going to come out again. You just need to really watch that. Remember, try and mitigate as much upfront damage of that as you can. Moving out on the smashes with the 3 abilities, and that is pretty much it, guys. So hopefully that gives you a decent level of comfort in the other side. Again, long video, but I'm enjoying making these. Hopefully you guys are getting something out of them. As I said, massive mission just to get people really comfortable moving into that plus 10 bracket, and I want to see as many people completing their plus 15s for the mount as I can assist with. So any questions, hit me up in the comments below, guys. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.